And welcome to episode number 2 of Scott Wheeler's Airplay, where we go behind the scenes, behind the microphone, if you will, to get to know the folks we listen to on the radio and see on television. Remember, we are airing right now on Facebook Live, but you can also see this episode and past episodes on the PeoriaLife.com web portal, also on YouTube and on the i3 broadband system, channel 17 on i3 broadband. I'm Scott Wheeler from Super Hits 102.7 FM and 1290 AM. And today, 2 dear friends of mine from a radio station I spent, I think, about 9 years at, WCIC in Peoria. We welcome from Mornings with the Traceys, Jill and Jeremy Tracey.
Scott,
welcome, guys. I even wore my WCIC staff shirt to make you feel at home.
And you wore my hair.
Yes.
This is amazing.
And the glasses. I mean, you guys are...
It kind of still fits. It's been a long winter of donuts.
It fits well. It fits well.
So guys, welcome. Thanks for coming in. We've been sharing off the air about lots of memories and so forth, and it was a very special time there. But I want to start with a question that I'm sure you get asked all the time, but I'm going to ask it anyway. So if it isn't obvious already, Jill and Jeremy not only do the morning show on WCIC, but they happen to share the same last name because they are married.
This is true.
We are.
So we got to know, what in the world is it like to work with your spouse 8 hours a day and then go home and there they are again?
Terrible. It's the worst. Let me out. I would say, yeah, that's the question we get all the time.
Or people say, I could never work with my spouse.
Yeah, and I would say, yeah, it is not for everybody.
Yeah.
But as you know, Scott, it's the only thing we've known all our dating lives since we've known each other. We met at a radio station. And for us, there's certain things in your life that people wonder how you do it. And for you, it is natural, And for us, working together as a married couple, we kind of found our rhythm.
Yeah. Like, I wonder, how could someone, be a heart surgeon or, whatever. But this is just so natural and normal for us. So I think it would be weird if we didn't work together, because we always have. So.
But the next question, I know what you're thinking. Next question is, do you guys argue? And yes, of course we argue.
Scott probably knows. He worked with us.
He worked with us.
Yeah, I heard a few things going on.
But yeah, I mean, we just really have found a rhythm. And when we're at work, we have a certain vibe together at work and a professional working relationship. But at home, obviously, I give her hugs and kisses and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
sometimes.
But honestly, have you ever had an argument maybe the night before or even that morning that you just couldn't help, it kind of carries over into the show? So while the songs are playing, that argument is kind of continuing, or at least the vibe or the mood, like, I'll talk to you in a minute.
Jill, tell them about... Remember that morning we had the argument. Our 13-year-old Alyssa is in the studio with us.
Oh, yeah.
And we had an argument, and it was during songs, and we go on the air, and we sound happy.
Right.
And remember that morning?
Our daughter went to school, and it was in Bible class. They were asking for prayer requests. And she said, you guys, you need to pray for my parents, because... They were arguing so bad, and then they went on the radio, and they sounded like everything was okay, and she was so worried. And we had to tell her, that's our job. Right. We can't sound like we're get ready to throw daggers at each other on the air. So it was good. It was a good chance to say, you know what, married people argue. They just do, and we get through it, and we move on, and sometimes we have to handle it in the seconds that we have when we're not on the radio.
One of the great things about working together is it's really encouraged us just in our communication and our marriage. It's forced us to communicate, as you can imagine. And both Jill and I are vocal people. Yeah. We have strong Don't say anything, Scott. We have strong personalities. So we work really hard. We can't stay mad at each other for very long.
No, we don't. We're not stuffers, which is good. Sometimes we unstuff a little too much, but yeah, it's good that since we do work together, that we don't harbor, any kind of bad feelings, ill will. We just kind of, there it is.
I mean, folks we've talked to on this show before who aren't married and do a show together talk about how it is like a marriage because you're trapped in this little room and you're talking constantly and sharing life both on and off the air, but you guys actually are married. So I just can't imagine that doesn't ramp up a little bit. And you guys only have one car between the two of you.
Yeah.
How do you escape from each other? That's an amazing discipline.
Yeah, we've decided to have one car
Yeah.
because for our budget, but
Oh, it works.
But yeah, we there are times where I go, Jill, I need a Saturday afternoon. Let's
Space.
just let me play video games.
Yeah.
Let me order some chicken wings. Jeremy needs some veggie
Maybe
time.
you and Alyssa can go to a movie or just go do something. And we love that. We love getting out. Jeremy's more of a, I just want to stay home kind of guy. So it works well.
The power in, I think, the gift that we have in being married and working together is we really do try to be authentic in what we do, but we choose those moments where if it's something we were arguing about that morning and it's still bleeding, that's not the time for us to talk about it.
Right.
But for us to be able to choose a moment and to share, hey, we're on a Christian radio station, but we struggle in our marriage at times. We have conflicts that come up just like anybody. And it's normal.
Yeah. So you met in radio. Take me back to the beginnings of your careers, Jill. How about you?
Well, I started actually at WCIC full-time. That was my first full-time radio gig, I guess. That was in September of '95. And then I was here in the Peoria area until the end of '98. Then I went down to Charlotte, North Carolina, and was there for 5 years before coming back. But in the middle of that time, I met and married Jeremy, and he came back with me. Actually, he was the one that was hired to come back, and so I came back with him, and we've been here since April of 2004.
Wow, that's great. So you were working in Charlotte at the time?
Yeah, Jill was working in Charlotte before me, and you had been there a year or two.
A year, yeah.
And I showed up in Charlotte. We met and fell in love, got married, and through unforeseen circumstances, you know how it is in radio.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't have choices in where you stay, and Jill's job changed, and God brought us here.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's good.
So you mentioned your daughter, Alyssa, and the thing I remember when I started there in 2006, she had just been born.
Right.
And she, for all intents and purposes, has literally grown up in a radio station.
This is true.
The thing folks don't think about is you do the morning show, so you have to get there 5 o'clock, whatever. What do you do with your child? At that point, a baby, an infant, then a toddler, she pretty much has grown up at the radio station. I mean, sleeping on the couch, getting ready in the bathroom.
You know all about that, yeah.
What does she think about that?
You see therapy in the future? Probably.
And now she's 13.
Yeah.
How has that changed over the years?
I'll take it.
Well, she gets up with us and comes into the station. We usually wait until, a few minutes before we're ready to go.
You can get her out of bed?
Well,
Depends on the morning.
yes.
You're right.
I mean, it's hard to get me up some mornings. So, but she does come with us, and then Jeremy has a futon in his office. You probably remember that.
Yeah.
And she sleeps on that and sets alarms, like 10 alarms, so that she'll get up.
Teenager, yeah.
And then she comes and grabs her stuff that she brings with her, goes in the bathroom, gets ready, and then we have friends that come by and pick her up. So it works really well. It's just, a little disruption for her in the morning, but then she can get some more rest.
What has changed is if she doesn't get up on time, the threat of the punishment of what's going to happen. Yeah. So if she doesn't get ready on time, now it's you lose your phone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
or
that's
YouTube today,
Or back in the day, maybe it's you can't watch Super Y or something on PBS.
Yeah.
A very familiar story. Yours just happens to take place in a radio station.
Yeah.
True.
But it's the same dynamics for anyone who has a teenager.
Exactly.
Yeah, we really are honored that our boss, Dave Brooks, makes it possible. Has made it possible for years for that to happen.
Well, and kudos to both you guys and Alyssa for making it. That is a sacrifice, I think. That's great.
She's a great girl.
She is. Yeah. It's been wonderful to watch her grow up. She's doing great things.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So let's get back to this line. You guys are so real and authentic on the air.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And that's, I think, one of your hallmarks, really the hallmarks of WCIC. But where is that line when it becomes sharing and being authentic, but then you don't want it to drift over into the too close, too personal?
Yeah.
How do you make that determination on the fly sometimes?
Yeah, I would say first, really our focus, and this has been a skill that's had to be developed. Like if you're a plumber, there are skills you develop. As a radio host and what we do, we've gotten better at it. But one of the things we try to keep the people that are listening at the foremost.
Right.
And when we talk, we're sharing with them, and they're our focus, but we're bringing parts of our lives along. And so with my take on authenticity is, and it has become kind of a buzzword, and everybody talks about it, and but it is a powerful thing if used for the right reasons. So where I come down to is, what are we trying to accomplish with what we're being authentic about?
Right. I mean, we might be struggling with something. I think as Christians and just people, we can all say, hey, I struggle with this. And there are times when I'm just stuck in a certain place. And I feel like I can share that and share it authentically and in a real way. But if I just leave it there and don't offer any encouragement or hope, and it's just every time we turn on the microphone, it's like, man, I'm really struggling today. Oh, man, this stinks. Oh, this is hard. I mean, I think I can be that real about something, but as long as I'm not living there and not moving on to, hey, this is what gives me hope when I'm struggling with this. And so I don't want to sound like, oh, but now I feel better because Jesus loves me, but I do want to say at some point, this is really where I am. And if you're there, I get it. But at some point I want to come back with I see
There's
the light
progress
today. I see how I've come farther and it's getting better without, sounding like that, oh, I'm just going to tie a bow on this part of my life and, oh, it's all done now. I don't deal with it anymore. Because, I mean, when does that happen?
Right.
Really? I mean, the stuff I deal with, I've dealt with my entire life, mostly. So it's not like I can just say, well, I used to struggle and I'm all better now. So I try to just be real with that, I guess. So.
One of the things I loved and continue to love about WCIC is it's, we're all used to radio and television stations being a source of maybe information, entertainment, a break in the day, a smile here and there. But WCIC is a different kind of radio station. Now, I kind of know the answer to this, but I would like for someone who's never heard of WCIC, what you play music.
Yeah.
But what makes it different? Why is it a different kind of listening experience, do you think?
Yeah,
Jeremy?
I'd say it's different because of that authenticity. I think it's there. We live in this world that is so polarized in so many ways. At the same time, people are looking for hope, and there really is a hope deficit in the world. So one of the differences is our positioning statement, faith, hope, family, the middle word hope, is that you turn on WCIC and anywhere you slice it or cut it, you're going to hear music that's full of hope. You're going to hear talk that is full of hope. And ultimately, we believe that hope as followers of Jesus ultimately comes back to God. So that's the bedrock of the station. And through that authenticity, Jill was talking about that authenticity and the use of it. I hope that that people, even people that are followers of Jesus, that are Christians, call themselves Christians, that they hear us on the mic, they hear the struggle, they hear the journey, and it gives them encouragement to keep pursuing God.
What I love about it is the way it's done. It's not, I mean, for those of you who have not heard of WCIC, it's not a talk show.
No.
It's not what we would say in the business teaching and preaching. It's a music station, but you interweave hope through conversation in a very brief but impactful way. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think so, because the music itself just brings so much hope. Music is so powerful. I mean, you read about music in the Old Testament of the Bible. I mean, it's been a part of worshiping God, of people, you think of the Psalms. David uses music and, reaches out to God, cries out to him in his despair. But also, the thing I love about the music on WCIC is that the people who are behind that music, it's a real thing for them. This message of hope, and where we find our hope is in Jesus Christ. That's where they are too. So we can totally relate with what they're singing. And then when we look at our lives and say, "Hey, this is something that we're doing. Maybe we're just having fun. Maybe we're relating to a song. Whatever it is, the conversation can kind of come in and reinforce the hope and the encouragement that's in the songs."
One of the things too that is really distinctive for WCIC is the whole idea. A lot of times you'll listen to a media outlet or something, and it's the big voice on the radio, and then it's everyone else that being entertained. And really, we're big on the WCIC community, and that those of us on the mic are part of that, and those that are listening are part of that, and we're sharing life, we're encouraging each other, we're praying for each other. It's an equal playing field.
We're talking with Jill Tracy and Jeremy Tracey from Mornings with the Traceys at WCIC in Peoria. Now, you guys just got back from, how many times have you been to Israel?
This was our fourth.
Are you kidding?
Yep.
You've been
No.
4 times?
No,
I'm not kidding.
No, I'm not kidding. I said
For
yes,
real.
I didn't mean that.
Wow.
And we got our 5th in 2020, and that is a little over half full, and we're planning one for 2021.
That is outstanding.
Yeah.
So do you learn something new each time, I assume you're there?
Definitely. I mean, it's kind of like, let me turn on the fire hose and drink from it, because there's so much information. And the thing that we love about working with the Center for Holy Land Studies is that we have not only the Israeli expert guide or the Palestinian expert guide who's telling us about these sites and how they've been found and what happened here. And we also have our American expert who comes with the same worldview that we have. He's a Christian. He's a former dean of a theological university, and he's just great. He takes this stuff and he brings it down to our level and helps us see things in a whole new way. Things like, the biblical account of Jesus' birth. There's no donkey in that story. There's no innkeeper, and you kind of see how different cultures have thrown their own things into what the Bible is saying, when you really can't understand it unless you understand the culture and the land where Jesus was and what was happening, and what it meant to the people who were hearing parables or prophecies from Moses or Elijah, or just what did that mean to them at that time. And then it comes to life for us in a whole new way.
It's blowing my mind, man.
Yeah.
Every time.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean,
Every
this
time.
this last time I wish I hadn't gotten sick, but besides that, it's been great.
That was kind of bad.
So I would venture to say that these Israel trips are probably atop your most memorable radio experience?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, seeing people's eyes get excited about, I didn't realize that when it talks about Joseph being a carpenter, and I'm looking around the land and I'm not seeing any wood, trees, go, he was more like a mason. Just seeing people, their light bulbs go on.
Craftsman, like with stone.
So what else, maybe look at your entire radio experience. Does anything else jump out that's memorable, either a funny, crazy moment or an impactful moment, or a little of both? Jill?
I love the prison concerts we've been doing.
Okay, tell us about that.
The past 2 years, I guess, we have had the opportunity. We've been working with the IDOC. They've been great to work with, the Department of Corrections. We've gone into different prisons. We've gone into Logan Correctional in Lincoln a couple of times for the ladies there. And we've been to also Taylorville Correctional Center. And it's just been incredible to bring in a band that can share their music, but also their lives and their stories with these men and women who feel like, I've messed up to the point where nobody loves me anymore, nobody cares about me anymore, maybe no one even comes to visit them, and they can hear that they are not forgotten and that there is a God who loves them no matter what they've done. And 2 out of the 3 concerts we've done so far, Unspoken has been a part of that. Carrollton was part of one. They did a great job too. And the lead singer of this band, Unspoken, Chad, just has such a great story of how God brought him out of a life of addiction. And it reaches the hearts of these men and women in a way that I haven't had that background. I can't do that. So I can just, go around hugging and loving and, high-fiving, and then they get down to the meat of, hey, this is why we're here, because you're loved and you're not forgotten. And that, I would say those have been some of my favorite events with WCIC, or in radio period, that I've just enjoyed over the past 23, 24 years.
There's something powerful to go in and to talk to somebody that they feel shame, most of them. And yes, they're serving time because they should be serving time, most of them. But for you to look in their eyes with confidence and not have fear, and to look at them with love, that means the world to them.
Yeah. And to call them by name.
Yeah.
I think it just means a lot.
Okay, the question I ask all my guests on Airplay, the most embarrassing thing that has ever happened to you on the radio that you feel comfortable sharing?
Yeah. There's one I'm thinking about that Jill would be great. Jill can't share it, but anyway.
Nice tease.
Yeah, no.
We'll do that after.
It's a different show.
I would say there was one time, how sometimes your interviews with the singers, the musicians, they happen at a time when you're not on the air, so you record it and you play it later. Well, that happened. We were interviewing For King and Country, one of the big bands for us
they
right now.
They were just here,
and did a great job in Peoria. And I recorded the interview, and then on the day that we were playing it back, I wasn't there. So I told Jeremy, don't forget, I had that interview recorded with Joel Smallbone from For King and Country. So Jeremy's like, great. So he edits it, plays it on the air. He's like, oh, it's so good. Then he gets a call from a listener saying, you were talking to Joel Smallbone from For King and Country, and you were talking about his wife and his kids. And at the time, Joel wasn't married. His brother Luke was married with kids.
She told me the wrong person.
So Jeremy looked like he didn't know who he was talking to, and it was my fault. So that was kind of embarrassing.
Yeah.
We never told the small bones about that. We just kind of kept that, unless they're watching today.
This is not really embarrassing, but I'm sharing this for Scott because I know he'd appreciate it. There's an art when you're on the radio to timing when you have to go to the bathroom.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
And there are times...
This is the real behind the scenes.
And there are times where I'm like, Jill, you got to take it. You got to take it. You're going to have to do this talk over without me.
I get texts from the bathroom. Yeah.
How much time? This one's not a 2-song one. This is a 4-song. Okay. I'm out.
That's what I've noticed in Christian radio. There is not the equivalent of American Pie.
Or Bohemian Rhapsody.
If someone would just make a really long Christian contemporary song, it would get played for that reason only. So you could go to the bathroom.
The songs just keep getting shorter.
I know. They're like 2 minutes and 34 seconds.
I'm like, come on.
You got to time
Work with me.
And when I mess my diet up at night, like last night with chicken wings, man, it's a bad morning.
It's not good. That's when you're glad you're a team radio.
I bet.
And not, by yourself.
Radio, yes.
You take it. I'm going to be a while. So I should say we miss Amy Grant. She had like the 5-minute songs. It's like, yes, Amy's on. So.
Well, guys, this has been fun. It's been like old home week here.
I know. I feel like it's so normal.
Yeah. We've been talking with Jill and Jeremy Tracey from Mornings with the Traceys here on Scott Wheeler's Airplay. Remember, you can see this again if you'd like to watch all the inspirational content we've had here today at PeoriaLife.com or on YouTube, or we'll post it on Facebook as well. You can check out my Facebook page at Scott Wheeler Radio Personality. We'll have it there. Also on I3 Broadband, Channel 17. Guys, thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
It's been good to hang again.
It's like old times.
It has been. All right, until next time, thanks for watching Scott Wheeler's Airplay.
PeoriaLife.com